Welcome my friend, Seven Gray here. Thank you for joining me for this episode today. Today I want to talk about something that I've never worked with before, and that is a solar generator. And I think that name throws a lot of people off. They hear the word generator and they think about the gas generators with the loud humming, almost annoying chainsaw kind of noise that happens in the background, at least for the loud ones. Some of the newer ones seem to be a lot quieter. But if you're looking for quiet, solar generator might be just the way to do that. So first question, for those of you not familiar with that, and a lot of this channel I try to think in terms of talking to my sister, and I don't think my sister has ever seen a solar generator before, so I'm sort of going to address this at that kind of an audience for explanation. So a solar generator has two parts. You have the actual unit itself, which you can see here in the picture. I haven't unboxed this yet, and it's a little bit smaller than this box, obviously. And then the second part is a collapsible mobile solar panel that you attach to feed power into this. So think of that solar panel instead of gasoline, and this little unit itself very similar to your traditional generator. And on the unit itself you have a number of outlets and plugs where you can plug in, say, a cigarette lighter for anything that you might run in an automobile. It has USB plugs, and then it has an AC outlet so that you can run low power devices. So that's sort of how it works. And they actually have a pretty nice diagram here on the side that sort of explains the logic here. So at the top here you can see these are the input sources, the way you can charge this battery that's built into this unit itself. So if you want to charge up this battery that's inside of here, you can do this with a wall outlet. You can do it with a cigarette plug by plugging it into a car battery or any place that has power. So for instance, let's say you're going on a road trip and you're going camping somewhere, or you're switching campsites, you could plug this in between campsites as you're driving down the road and using the engine's alternator and battery bank to power this thing up. You arrive 5 hours later or 8 hours later or whatever it is, and maybe you were at 50% power. You're topped off when you arrive and you have power and everything inside of your tent, inside of your pop-up camper, inside of your trailer, whatever it is, for the evening and for the night to run, say, your laptop and you charge your phone and all that kind of stuff. And the last source, of course, is your solar panels. So those are the three ways to feed this unit here. And then from there, you can plug in a variety of devices. So you can plug in, and it shows all three categories here. The first one is things like smart devices, iPhone, Kindle, GoPro, iPad, all your digital devices, and those plug into things like USB. And then in the center here, it shows things like drones, MacBook, TV, and lights. And maybe you require an AC plug to do those kinds of things. And then over on the last category, you get small 12-volt items that maybe have a cigarette lighter plug, like your let's see, fans. It could be a air pump, like for an air mattress, something like that, a CPAP, or maybe a 12-volt cooler. So those are all some things that you might be able to power. So anyway, that's what the solar generator is. Let me go ahead and unbox it and show you the inside. Okay, inside you have an instruction guide. And I'll go through this in a little bit and give you impressions here, but it looks pretty simple. And then the unit itself with a little handle on it, and it's pretty small, almost like toy size, but very, very convenient if you are trying to, I guess, go camping or something like that and limited in space, putting something in the back of your car. I think this is probably the perfect go-to thing. I wish I would have had this my first year in the step van. If you look, I have probably 100 videos over that first year where I had no power in my step van other than the starter batteries So I was going to Starbucks every single morning to charge up my mobile phone, charge up my laptop, and I was taking my DeWalt power tools and plugging them in at Starbucks. If I would have had this for my first year, this would have been a godsend, just like absolutely phenomenal for that lifestyle. So if you're just getting into van life and you don't have your big solar setup, something like this, the solar generators are fabulous. And this one may be the right unit for you. I don't know. Let's do some tests here in a little bit. And then there's a box on the side. And inside the box you have a power brick. And this one looks like it has a connector on the side. And it looks like you can connect 3 different kinds of cables. So this plugs into the power generator itself. And then you use this plug here to plug in 1, 2, 3 different kinds of cables. So you can plug in your cigarette lighter, you can plug in the solar panels with the solar panel connectors here. Inside this box here, they have what looks like, I don't know, like a portfolio briefcase, like somebody would carry sketches to a business meeting with. So this sort of is a cloth material. A couple of clips on it. It's embroidered on this side, and then the back side is a zipper pocket that goes on the side that I guess you can put, well, there's cables in here, so that makes sense. And it appears the cables are already attached, so that's convenient. You can just sort of drop them into place and then plug them in. And it looks like it has a duplicate plug of the other plug. So this plug here would go directly in the side of the solar generator, and you should be good to go. So I'm just going to read through the instructions quickly, look at the quick startup guide, and get this thing going and charging since I have pretty good sunlight today. Let's talk statistics. All the statistics are here on the box. I'll let you just sort of look at that. You can freeze the frame, but it's pretty straightforward. It's 330 watts. That's what it's rated at, with a peak of 370 or so, plus or minus just a little bit. I'm not sure the actual battery capacity. I'll have to actually ask and put in the description below, but it says 288 watt hours. But I know most standard batteries are rated in amp hours, so I'm not sure how that converts over. Okay, I have this set up. I have the solar panel set up here on the front bumper of the step van and the unit down here below. It says it's charging. Right now it is pulling in about 45 watts or something like that. I'm at 24%, so I'm not sure how many hours this will take to charge. I'm just going to let it run all day and check on it occasionally. But let me show you a close-up of what the interface looks like. You do have to put a little adapter here to plug this cable into the front of it, and it plugs right in the front. And then here is the display. It has a little icon showing graphic that it's charging. It's at 24%, and it's pulling down 52 watts right now. It's about lunchtime, noon, and going to check in and see how we're doing with the solar panels out here. I just came outside and the wind had blown the panels over. So it's probably, I don't know, 15 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour gusts today. So the wind is a little bit strong, but not like crazy bad. You can probably hear it a little bit right now. But as you can see, up there is the panel. You just saw it flip over. So I would say that's one of the downsides, is you need to figure out a system to deal with the wind. If you just sort of lean them against something, they're going to fall over. So anyway, it got blown over a little while ago. I'm not sure when that happened, so let me check on the solar and see how it is. Okay, so we're at 60% now and still bringing down about 52 watts. These are 100 watt panels, so probably you would expect to get about 80-85 watts at best in like summer sun, and we're in winter sun right now, so I don't know, I would expect to get a little bit more than this midday, but it is what it is. I just brought in the solar generator and I have 100% charge on it right now. It's showing 100%. It took about 5 hours for it to charge from almost zero up to 100%. It shows the max power going into this is 52 watts. I've never seen it exceed that over a number of tries that I've done here. So let's go ahead and plug some things into it and test it out. Each of these three areas has a power button to power up for AC, USB, and DC. So you need to plug in your device. This is my Macintosh computer here. This is 110 volts. I'm going to plug that in. It's not powering it now. To add power to it, you press this button here and it will have a green light that comes on and it will be powering it up. And it now shows the draw of the computer. It's pulling 22 watts in sleep mode right here, charging it. So this will vary. If I'm doing graphic intense things, then it might be pulling a full 60 watts out of there, so that does fluctuate. And next I'm going to add some USB devices. So in the center area here you have three standard USB connectors, and this is a 3.0 standard and then a Type-C. My phone here is a Type-C, so I'm going to plug that into the bottom here, into this plug, and then add power to that. And now I'm up to 40 watts. I'm going to add another device. This is a GoPro Hero. Let's see, those plugs are always reversible. There we go. And it's powering up. Let's do one more. This is also a GoPro Hero session. I have two of those. Okay, so both of these are charging now. I'm still at 40 watts. And I have my phone charging. I can do one more USB device. Let me look around and see if I can find something else. Alright, found one more device. This is my electric trimmer for my beard, and I actually shave my head with this. It originally was 110 volt, but I have converted most of my items over to DC or USB, and so this is a USB charger for it. So let's try plugging that in, and I'm down to 93% and it's pulling 41 watts now with all of those items running. Okay, I'm going to add one more item. This is my camera battery, and I converted it over as well to a 12 volt system. So this is a cigarette lighter adapter. You plug it in here, and you do need to click the button to turn on the power for that. And now it is on. I see the light here. The light is going here. It is charging. So now I have all of these devices, AC. I have all the USBs. 3 of them are normal USB, a USB-C, and a 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter. There are 2 more plugs that I could use, but I actually don't have this size over here. These are 12 volt, 3 amp, and they're these circular barrel connectors. I don't know too many people that use those here in North America. At least my devices, none of those have those connectors. The solar generator does come with a set of plugs and adapters that will adapt this size to almost everything out there. So if you do use these barrel adapter kind of plugs, you can convert from almost any device that you would have to this particular size here using all of those adapters. I don't have that. The only other 2 things that are on here is you have a light here that you could turn on, and I'm going to turn that off because it's sort of blinding. And then on top there is a wireless connector here if you have a phone with wireless. Mine is not. Mine is an old school phone with a standard charge adapter, so it doesn't do that. Now it appears that my max output right now is 41 watts for all of these devices. It appears that everything here is charging and going. I'm not good enough with electric stuff to go in and measure the values, the voltage and the amperage and the wattage that all of these things are pulling out of here. I'm pretty much your typical consumer and user in that I just want it to work. As an end user, the consumer, which you're probably very much like yourself, this is the experience that you'll have. And for me, this works. It's very, very functional, and I like the system. in conclusion, let me talk about the pros and the cons of the Rockpal as I experienced it. I've been using this for about a week now. And the pros. The size, it's super small. It's pretty lightweight, very convenient, very portable, and I would say very functional. I really like the design, and I've been using it daily and using it hard. I do 100% full charge, and then I drain it down to where it starts beeping, which is somewhere around, I don't know, 5, 6, 7%, something like that. So I've been using it pretty hard, primarily to power my laptop, but also charging all sorts of other devices with it. The things I've not really used are the light here on the top and the cell phone wireless charger on the very top area of the surface up here. I never even tested that because I don't have that feature. Okay, so let's get into what I dislike about it, the cons. Well, first off, I would like to point out that the power plug here for the AC is upside down in North America. In North America, the plugs typically are the two prongs this way on top, with the third one, which is the ground, is on the bottom. So this is upside down, which for some devices, like I have a watt meter that I plugged in here, and then all the display and everything would be upside down on that when it's plugged in, which is quite inconvenient when you're trying to read it. The other thing I don't like is the location of the little button here above the AC plug. It is so close there that on some devices like the power brick for the Macintosh computer will actually turn this off if you're plugging it in. Let me show you. So if you're plugging this in here like so, you'll see that the top of this actually goes in and it will touch this button on top of there. So if you've turned this on in advance, it can turn it off. Or maybe you aren't sure if it's on or off and you can't see the display because it's blocking it. I don't know what they'll do to solve this, but I imagine that it will involve either relocating the button and putting it somewhere else, or changing the button type to something that's inset just a little bit more instead of protruding out from the surface here. But I would say that that's a slight design flaw in how it's put together. I also had a similar problem when I'm plugging in the power for the solar panels. This little plug right here is where you plug in the plug for the solar panels to charge it. Right above it is a light. So oftentimes as I'm pushing in the plug or removing the plug, I end up turning on or off the light up here above accidentally as I'm trying to plug in the power to the solar panel. So I would say they should move this light button up here next to the light somewhere here. So other than that, I can't really see any other things that I would change. I would like to see a little bit more power myself because I use an induction cooktop. I use an electric kettle, some other things that this is not intended to power. This is pretty much for somebody who is going out for the weekend or in van life that wants to power your computer, charge your phones, run 12-volt appliances that you would run off of your cigarette lighter in your dash, and not something for induction cooktops and electric kettles and things like that, which require way more power. This maxes out at 330 watts. And for instance, my air conditioning unit is 410 watts. My induction cooktop is 1300 watts. My electric kettle is 1500 watts. All those items require way more power than this can power. But most people are not using those kinds of things because they're high use power items, and this is not really the intended purpose or use of this device. Anyway, I'm going to put some links below so that you can check this product out. I should give a disclosure here. Rockpals did give me this unit for review. It was an open box unit, so it had been used a couple of times, but practically brand new. In fact, the solar panels were still sealed in plastic and never been used, but this had been plugged in and used a couple of times. So anyway, it is a pretty fabulous product. I like it. I feel good about endorsing it, and I've certainly pointed out every flaw that I could think of for this particular unit in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you in a future video.